Hi, it's Chris the Guitar Amp Tech from Sydney, Australia here. Thank you for coming back. After enduring my techno babble in the last two videos about Class A and Class B, I thought you ought to run for the hills. Well, the time has come to reveal what this is all about. Introducing the Tweed Tone 12A. It's from Artist Guitars, designed by yours truly and the engineers at the Artist Factory. I'm very proud of this amp. I think you will love its flexibility, its touch sensitivity and the tones of this baby. After watching my previous videos, you now know what Class A means and what single-ended Class A means. If you don't, then click here for a refresher. Let me tell you a little bit about the Tweed Tone 12. It's a single-ended Class A amp that uses a 6L6 power tube in the engine room instead of the more common 6V6 that you'd find in the Champ and the spin-offs, or an EL84 that you'd find in an AC4 Vox. It uses a 12AX7 for the preamp, and I decided on a solid-state rectifier to keep the sound tight. There'll be more than enough sag for the blues players from the 6L6. I reduced the more common cathode bypass cap value to cut out some of that low-end flab that can be muddy in a small amp. Many modern production amps, even the very well-respected brands, are biased way too hot. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen me ranting about this. I have set this cathode bias to the Goldilocks position. Not too hot, not too cold. But this means that you can change both the power tube and the preamp tube without consulting a tech. With a warning, please don't try an EL34 or a 6V6 in there, or it will die a painful death. We tried a few different power transformers, but we settled on one which gave me just under 12 watts before clipping. The 12A, you'll see, is significantly louder than a Champ. Interesting story. Ian Bush, the CEO of Artist Guitars, came up with the name for this amp, calling it the Tweed Tone 12A. A being for the Class A of the amp, and the 12 reflecting both the 12-watt power and, significantly, the 12-inch Celestion speaker in the back. That speaker makes a huge difference in the punch, the presence and the tonal palette of this amp. I tell you, developing a sound that pleased everyone at Artist Sound Jury was challenging, but a very productive one. I had to deal with different tastes of people who I greatly respect. It was a repetitive process of matching conflicting comments such as, it's too clean, it's too dirty, it's too bright, it's too dark. But in the end, I'm very happy with the end result. Much happier, in fact, than my first prototype, which was just for me. Hence the switches on the front panel. I hasten to add that you won't be receiving this exclusive prototype model with the handwritten sticky labels. The tone knob has a very usable range, but the bright switch just gives you a little bit more sparkle if you like more top end. The other switch needs a bit of explaining. This was the first version where we called it Boost Normal. It's now been changed to Normal and NFD. I'll explain that. It changes the voice and the character and responsiveness of the amp. The NFD stands for Negative Feedback Defeat. When it is in normal, the negative feedback gives the amp more of a polite character. All Fender amps have a negative feedback loop. It gives you a quieter and cleaner sound perfect for a bit of jazz, funk or cleaner sounds. But nudge the switch into the NFD, called a boost here, but it'll be NFD on yours, and the amp gets a bit more of an attitude. But after that build-up, I'm sure you want to hear it. I don't think I can do it justice for you. I need a great guitar player to show you what it can really do. We've bred some greats in Australia. I mean, you know Angus, you know Tommy Emmanuel. But in Australia, we've got some real legends like Kevin Borich, Doug Ford of the Masters Apprentices, or Bob Spencer. God, if only I could play like Bob Spencer.
What the hell? Conveniently, an Artist Guitars Tweed Tone 12A amplificator. I think we need to play this. If only we had some guitars. Here's Robben. So we're going to listen to the rear pickup, which is how most people would play a telly, and something on the clean, clangy kind of side. So here's the volume on the Telecaster on full, and the tone control is also on full. The volume on the amp is around 10 o'clock, and the bright switch is engaged. Very dynamic. Front pickup. Let's turn the amp up a little bit. Volume on amp just over halfway. Front pickup. All very usable, and we're not employing any pedals for this review. That's probably as dirty as I'd play a telly, so maybe we'll move on to another guitar. Moving up in guitar output, this special, or looks like a junior, has two P90s, famously played by Bob Marley and John with the surname that begins with L from that band, The Beatles. So a little bit higher output than the Telecaster. The P90s will hum. This is perfectly normal for a P90. It has nothing to do with the amplifier. Rear pickup on full, tone on full. And the volume settings as we started with the Telecaster. Tone at 10 o'clock, volume at 10 o'clock, bright switch engaged, gain switch not engaged. I'm going to play the same chords over and over again, okay? Just for reference. Let's turn the amp up a bit. Volume at 2 o'clock, tone, I've just left it at 10 o'clock. For what reason? Just because it was there when I arrived this morning, and no real reason. It just sounds pretty good. Volume at 2 o'clock. You can hear that that has a lot more grunt than the Telecaster. That's not better or worse, it's just different. Not added by AC/DC. front pickup P90. Really usable sound. No pedals for this review at all. Cable straight into the amp. It's very responsive to your touch. I love that. Moving up one step in output from the guitar is a Les Paul Custom, affectionately known as Doug, for reasons obvious to anyone who knows Chris or I. Humbucking pickup, rear pickup, volume full, tone full, and the amp setting is the same as where we began with the Telecaster. The tone is at 10 o'clock, the volume is at 10 o'clock. Again, just because it sounded pretty good, no real scientific reason, and there shouldn't be, it just sounds good. Bright switch engaged, gain switch not engaged. Let's turn the volume up to where we had it for the higher gain setting, the previous two guitars, volume at 2 o'clock. I think it's doing what you would hope an amplifier does with a humbucking pickup. The sound is still cohesive, it's resilient, it's very responsive to my touch. That means a lot to me because of the way that I play rhythm, especially. Let's run the amp through some more of its sounds. Tone at 10 o'clock, volume at 10 o'clock. We'll start with the bright switch engaged, then I'm going to turn the gain switch on. And not too dirty so that you can appreciate the differences. Gain off again. Gain on. It's subtle, but it's usable. I'm going to turn the bright switch off. I'm toggling between them. I hope you can hear that at your end. I can almost hear it above my tinnitus. I'm going to do the same with the gain switch, but this time I'm going to have the bright switch off. Here's the gain on, off. Very usable sounds to my ears. Let's go to how I think many of you will play, which is the bright switch on, the gain switch on. We're going to run through the tone and volume changes now. Here's the tone control being turned from off to full on. That's a very good range of tone in my opinion. Let's listen to a couple of things. That's the tone off. I'm just going to put it on full. I feel like playing some John Fogerty songs now. That is fantastic. Let's put Just Because, the tone control at halfway, and turn the volume up to, what do you reckon, Chris? Give me a number.
Let's go full.
Full. Okay, here we go. Volume on full. It's bloody loud. I've had to put an earplug in because it's really loud. I think Chris said this was clocking it at 116.
116 dB.
116 dB for a 12-watt amplifier. Right. Let's put the tone on full just because we can. That's the volume on full, the tone on full, the bright switch engaged, the gain on full, the guitar on full.
Did you take requests in the sound check?
This is a lot of fun to play. So this is a class that...
There's one song you're probably going to guess, which I want you to just play the opening intro to.
Not the Doug.
The Ocean.
Oh, the Ocean?
Yeah. I first heard Bob playing that 45 years ago, I think.
It was... seemed like yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a great sounding amplifier. Now you can use an amplifier of this volume obviously for recording, which is what I've done for almost my entire life. Most of my catalogue has been with small amplifiers. You could use this at rehearsal and put it through the foldback. You could also use this at a gig and put it through the foldback. So you still get the tone of an amplifier that's humming away nicely without the killer volume. Just for reference, I'm going to go to what I think would be a usable sound for me, which is the tone at about halfway and the volume at about halfway, bright switch engaged, and the gain switch engaged. Now that would allow me to put a pedal in line and get a good solo sound. Okay. The Artist guitars, Tweed Tone 12A. Let's listen to this amplifier with a very affordable guitar. This is an Artist guitar. It's an Artist guitars banjo that retails for $400 and something. The retail price of this amplifier is $469 at the time of this review. $469 is not much more than you'd pay for a boutique pedal or maybe 1.5 pickups. It's very well priced. So this guitar lists at $400 and something. It's an Artist guitars guitar. We're going to start with the amp where it was when we started the review with the Telecaster, the tone at 10 o'clock, the volume at 10 o'clock, the bright switch engaged, and the gain disengaged. So again, one of those guitars is worth a good 10 times what this guitar is worth. I shouldn't have said that. You're going to have to cut that out. The amp is very responsive. It's a lot of fun to play, even when the guitar is out of tune. I love doing this, and I love what Artist Guitars and Chris have done with the design of the amplifier. 12-inch speaker, 12 watts, Class A, really usable tone sweep. The volume on full sounded great. Very usable bright switch, very usable gain switch. Wonderful. The Artist Guitars Tweed Tone 12A. What about that coffee?
A huge thanks to Bob Spencer. Bob and I are the same age and we've known each other for a long time, and I've been a huge fan of his since we were both kids. We had an absolute ball recording this video and guarantee nothing but coffee was consumed. I'm very proud of this Tweed Tone 12A. I love it. I'm very confident you're going to love it. How Artist Guitars can produce and sell this amp for under 500 Aussie dollars just defies logic. I'm not sure if they'll be available elsewhere on the planet, but call or email the guys at Artist Guitars in Sydney, Australia, and they will let you know. Thank you for hanging in and listening to my rantings about classes of amps and the Tweed Tone 12A. I appreciate you hanging around. If you got anything out of it, please do a like and subscribe. I answer every single comment that I find. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.